This is all about the Amtrak Auto Train. I finally did it after taking many a trip up and down 95 from Florida all the way up to Philadelphia. I'm covering just about everything from buying your tickets to getting on the train, and when you finally get to your destination, it got to be so long I had to put it in two parts. This is part one, from getting your tickets until you get on the train. Second part's coming. Train ride all the way down to the destination. Let's get started on part one. Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Rusty Nelson and welcome. I am currently down here in the Villages, Florida, Central Florida, and I have made the trip, the driving trip up and down 95 so many times with my car, I can do it blindfolded, I think. And I've even shot some videos while I've been driving on it. But I got a lot of comments from people about, hey, have you ever thought about taking the auto train? And so I was getting ready to go from Florida up to Philly, and I thought, why not? I'll give it a shot. And I jumped on board the auto train. Now, let me tell you, before I got on there, I did a lot of research. I probably watched 2 days worth of videos because I knew you guys were going to ask a lot of the questions about this. And I really wanted to give a comprehensive look at what you needed to know from start to finish. So not only will I be including all the things that I thought I knew, because I did have one big mistake in there that kind of cost me some comfort. I'll also include all the things that I learned prior to that and put them all together, and I'll do it sort of in a sequence from the beginning, from getting the tickets. I'll show you how I got my tickets, and actually the things I learned about getting the tickets are so important, how you do that instead of just jumping on there, because you can save some money doing it. And I will go through the whole trip, try to keep it in order until I land all the way up in just south of Washington, D.C., and I'll let you know the problems that I had, delays, early starts, all that kind of thing. One more thing too, when I get to websites and stuff like that, keep your phone handy because I will put up QR codes that you can just shoot that and you'll be able to go directly to the website. Comments, please put your comments down below because I didn't catch everything and I still won't catch everything, and everybody's had a different experience on the auto train. Other people would like to hear about it. I'd like to hear about it because there's a good chance I'll probably take the auto train again, just to take it in the opposite direction, and I'll let you know exactly what I learned on that trip. I'll put a share link down below. You can share it amongst people. I'll put chapters down below so you can scrub along the timeline. I'm sure you know how to do that from chapter to chapter on there. Thank you so much for subscribing right away. It takes a long time to put something like this together. Not only that, it takes an investment. They didn't pay for it. And thank you just for taking that extra second. Do it right now before you forget. Hit the like button, especially if you like this comment or helped you out. Let's get started from the very beginning, because when I went to go take the auto train, I really didn't know what it was. So I had to find out exactly what the auto train was all about. The history of this train is kind of cool, and when I started looking into this, I thought, well, I'll just spit out a little bit. It actually started in 1971 as a private venture type thing and went for about a decade until it went bankrupt for various reasons. And then in 1983, Amtrak took it over part-time, and it was so popular that in 1984, they actually made it a full-time train that ran from Sanford, Florida train station to Lorton, Virginia train station, auto train station. I say auto train station because each one of these stations has to be so big to handle this train that they have their own train stations. It travels about 855 miles and departs every single day simultaneously from each direction, traveling about 17 hours, and arrives the next day, hopefully at 10 a.m. It travels about 50 miles an hour on average, but can travel up to just about 70 miles an hour. The train is amazingly the longest passenger train, at least that's the way it's built, at about 3/4 of a mile long, and you'll see that in a bit. And it'll carry around 650 passengers and about 340 cars, which you'll see this in action is kind of amazing. Just to get us started, check-in starts at 12:30, and I'll show you how that's done, and it closes at 3 p.m. sharp, unless they have some of their own delays. And let's get on the website, and we'll look at a few different ways you can actually purchase the tickets for this train. This is the beginning, and naturally it is going to the websites. Now through this, I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff that I learned, and I really don't see this on other videos on YouTube, so kind of pay attention to this, and we'll move over to the internet. All right, here we go. This is the Amtrak website, and you're going to get a lot of things on here that are going to help you out a lot. First thing I would do is right up here, join the guest rewards. Why do I say that? Because you never know when you're going to use this again, and you'll get a bunch of points for taking this, so you might as well accumulate the points. The second thing I would do that's really important is to go down to the bottom here of the website, and I'll put, like I said, I'll use the QR codes. I'll put those up here for the various ones. But head on down here, and whether you're on Apple or Google, go over to those websites and download the app, because this is going to become important as you move along. This is for Google and this is for Apple. As far as I can tell, they're pretty much the same. But two things that are really important are, one, you will get your reservation number on there. This is not the same as your ticket. Keep this in the back of your mind. Not the same as your ticket. Also, if you are in coach or you need to change something, you can use it to move around just like you do the airlines. The other big thing is status. You can get real-time status, and I'll show you on the desktop, about the train, and that can become important because you can look at the train from beforehand, the day you're leaving, and you'll be able to tell whether you might be delayed. All right, with that said, let's go back to the regular website, and this is what you'll see when you first get on here. What I suggest you do is right away go to Auto Train. Now, like I said, there's three ways that you can get your ticket. You can get it through the app, or you can do it this way. And we're going to run through this, and you'll understand what I mean by some of the other things. I just clicked on Auto Train, and as you can see right here, there are two stations, Lorton, Virginia, and Sanford, Florida. You can click the middle, depending on which way you're going, and you can see that they actually reverse back and forth. Now, I'm going to use my trip so we don't get kind of mixed up about where we're going here. So if I click it back, I left Sanford, Florida, the Auto Train, and then went to Lorton, Virginia, Auto Train. Next thing you'll want to look at is your depart date. Now, you can click on this, and the typical calendar comes up. I'm just going to select let's say a month ahead, and click done. The next thing you're going to do is pick traveler. Now this is kind of important because on here, for me, you can see it's already clicked for senior, and you'll get a discount. We'll check that out in a second. But normally you would take adult, add one to it, a youth, or children, and then any discounts you have on here, you'll see you can take a military veteran and see what that gets us. But anyway, you click done. So like I said, you want to go through there. If you're senior, you're going to have to change that over to senior. If you have a coupon, you can add that in. Check ways to save, because they add in different things all the time. This just talks about one way to save $75 for the Auto Train, and that is a coach. Just hit find trains unless you're going to use points. if you've already signed up for the rewards. As you can see, every train leaves at 5 o'clock and arrives at 10:59 the next morning. If you're going to go coach, just select on coach and you'll see the difference in the flex. And over here on the right, you can pick upper or lower. Private rooms, these are the sleeping rooms. Now, don't pay attention to the price because the price is going to change all the time, just like airline tickets. You can pick a roomette, a bedroom, which is a little bit larger, and then you can pick a family room, and we'll talk about these in a few seconds. So I just selected a roomette, and we add that to our cart. Now, don't forget to scroll down a little bit because it'll explain all the policies and exactly what's included, give you the size of the room. You add that to your cart. Now, don't think you're done yet because all the way down the bottom, you got to click continue. Then you have to add your type of car. Now, I had a standard car. You may have an extended car. You can click right here and see what the details are, like racks, bicycle racks, luggage racks, that type of thing. For the car that you have, I have one vehicle. And don't forget, you can take motorcycles. The other thing to note down here at the bottom is priority offloading of vehicles. And I'll explain exactly what that is. If you want to pay $95 and you're in a rush, you will get your car taken off in the first 30 cars. I did not do that, so I will not add that in there. Then you put your name in and you will get your ticket. The third way that you can book a room is to actually call Amtrak and speak to a representative. It doesn't cost you any more, and they were very friendly, and that's exactly what I did. And the reason being was because I had a couple of questions, and I figured that I did not want to get a room down below. So when I called up, I said, hey, can I choose my room? And she says, yeah, no problem. And I said, I have the diagram of the room here. What roomette would you have on the upper floor? And she goes, how about room 10? And I said, sure, fine. And it sounded good to me because it was an end room. Well, I'll tell you in a bit about what the problem was with that and a real problem with my car, and I'll explain how the cars are labeled. Now, she was very friendly. She was very happy to answer all the questions, and she did give me a big tip. She said, honey, make sure that you call back or look on the website and check the price of your ticket because sometimes they do go down. And if they do go down, call them up and they will actually honor that price. So that worked out fine. The price was exactly the same. And now here I am set to go off on my journey. I got my ticket, it was sent to me, and immediately it showed up on the app. So that was kind of nice. I could tell I had everything on my phone. And off I went towards the train station. Let's talk a little bit about the cars because this had me totally confused at first. And if you've never taken the auto train before, this will kind of help you find out where your car is and get a little oriented to the whole train. There are a whole bunch of passenger dining cars, that type of thing, and they're all clumped together in one area. Then tacked on to that is all of the auto train cars. And they're like almost separate, and then when you get to the station, they join them together. Now, here's the thing. All of the northbound trains are called 52, right? So 52 something, and then the second part is the car number. All the southbound trains, the train is called 53. So if every single day, there's two trains. There's one 52 train going north, and there's one 53 train going south. And the cars are not always exactly the same, but they are very close in numbering. And basically, besides the eating, dining type cars, there's three types of cars. There's a coach car, which is just like an airplane. There's two seats on either side of the aisle. They're big. They're much bigger than a first class airplane seat. And then there are two types of sleeping cars. Basically, there's some variants in there. I'll explain that a little bit, but just so you get an idea, here is a basic sleeper car. And as I said, I was in cabin 10, you can see that. And the upper floor, there are 10 roomettes, and then there are A, B, C, D, and E sleeping bedroom type. And down below, there are 4 more roomettes, and there is a shower, there's a few bathrooms, and then there's an accessible room down below. And that was the type of car I was in. There is also what's called a deluxe sleeping car, which has A through N, I believe, upstairs. And you can tell because there's a narrow hallway on one side. And then down below, there are 4 roomettes. And also, if you look at 15 is what they call like a family room. Now, let's jump over to the website and we'll just kind of run through those rooms really quick now that you kind of have an idea of an orientation of what's going on. I'm not going to go through each one of these rooms with my camera. When I go through the train with the camera, I'll show you in a bit my trip myself. But on the website, the same page that we were on before, there are descriptions of all of the rooms. So here, a roomette is the smallest room. And if you click on roomette right here and then click on details, it will bring you to all the specs as far as the room goes. Now you can see a roomette's basically made for 2 people. And in this shot, they're showing somebody in an upper bunk and a lower bunk. I'll show you on my thing, but I was by myself. I'm not so sure I'd want to be up in the upper room. Bedrooms are a little bit larger, and they have a shower in the room and a restroom in the room. Now, I will say some of the benefits I've heard of that are the fact that you have the restroom and the shower in your room. And not that many people take showers in the rooms, I guess. That's the way it is. And somebody said, I'm not so sure I want somebody going number 2 in my bedroom in such close quarters. So there's benefits and then there are not benefits. There's a bedroom suite, which is actually larger. And I'll show you a couple other pictures of that a little bit later. But that says 3 to 4 suitcases and up to 4 adults. And there is the family room. If you remember, I said downstairs. So you can see here, there's room for 4 people to bunk up. And then there is an accessible room down below. So there's actually wide doors on there. What I would suggest that you do is peruse through this. There's a ton of other videos, like the people that did stuff on just the rooms and that type of thing. I'm going to show you my room, and I'm going to go through my room, my roomette, and glimpse in some of the other rooms when we look at my video. But that kind of covers the rooms right there. You're going to have all your individual needs. You could do a whole video on that. In fact, I'll tell you what, there's somebody that did one. I'll put the link down below. Yep, that's me packing my car and throwing everything in my car. Now, if there's a couple of things I got to really these are important. When you pack your car, you can put all the things you want in there. Just shove them all in there. Think about this, though. When you get to that train, you don't want to have very much stuff with you because, one, if you're on the upper level, it takes a little bit of maneuvering, and you'll see that to get up to the train. 2, pack extremely organized to bail out of the car once you get to the train station, because as you'll see, you pull through the gate and it's fairly quick, and you got a bunch of people behind you waiting to get their cars on that train. And this is like a well-oiled machine as long as the trains are on time. So really what you need to pack is enough for one night. You're going to want your toothbrush and that type of thing. So just think about what you'd do if you were staying overnight. 2, bring all your meds with you. And the reason I say this is although it happens so rarely that they have to leave a train car behind, it has happened. I talked to one of the guys and he said sometimes a wheel bearing will go out on the car or whatever. So make sure you got enough meds packed with you and you keep them with you wherever you're going overnight. You can also take alcohol on board, although they don't want you drinking that in the dining areas, but you can have alcohol in your room. And let me tell you this as loud as I can. There is no smoking on the cars. There is no smoking on the cars. There's no private area. You're going to be on there for at least 17 hours probably, and maybe a lot longer. So if you're a smoker, forget about it. It's not going to happen. And if I didn't say this yet, you can't get to your car or your luggage that's in the car. Once you drop your car off, it's gone. You can't get in your car until that car is offloaded in your destination. Also, animals. You can bring a dog that is a service dog that is legally a service dog. But think about this, please. That dog is going to be on there for 17 hours with no place to go. It's as simple as that. So maybe the auto train may not be for you. You can bring your service animal, but that's kind of torture. And if that dog's got to go, there's no place to go but in your cabin. And these cabins are very tight with each other. You might as well be in the same room with somebody in some of these cabins. So those are the big things. Make sure you're ready to get out of that car when you get there. And make sure you got your meds with you. That's a really big thing, and the very unlikely thing that they have to pull a car off for some reason. Now, something you may want to think about before you actually get to the auto train is to get fuel your car up. So that whatever you need to do on the way there, after you get off the auto train, you have a full tank and you don't have to stop for gas. You may also want to think about stopping off. There's a Winn-Dixie that's fairly close, and you can grab some of your snacks there if you didn't grab them before. I'm going to grab myself something to eat. I'm getting here at Winn-Dixie at about 20 after 12, so I will be on the early side, and I figured if I had to wait in line, I'd grab something to eat and just eat it while I was in the car and in line. Be prepared is the thing. So far I've picked up snacks and I've picked up extra food. When I say extra food, you can always be prepared that when you arrive, the other train may be late, so they can't board people, so there may be a long line. It's usually just after lunch, so you want to get a little lunch maybe to sit in the car with and eat. You just got to be patient with this and realize that it is an adventure. And that's basically it. Be prepared for the train to be late. Pick up some snacks for the ride in there. And here I am just arriving at the train station. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I think I'm okay. It's first time doing this.
All right, welcome. Can I get a last name?
Nelson? Do you need any?
Go on the list.
Good.
That's a good start.
This should...
So this number is going to identify your car tomorrow when it comes off the train.
Okay.
It just sticks to your cardboard. So keep this number, keep that with you so you don't have to memorize it.
Okay.
So they don't come off in order. They're all shuffled up.
All right.
But when you hear 148 tomorrow, you know your car's ready for you.
All right. Okay.
So right now, I'm going to get you to pull down that center lane up there, number 2.
Number 2?
Leave this driver's window down because someone is going to meet you down there.
Okay.
And we'll get you all set up.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
All easy.
The biggest thing I could say at this point is you're going to get some information. I'd keep a little folder to put it all in. Don't rely on remembering things because there's a whole bunch of numbers that get involved. Also, take pictures of this type of information when you get it with your phone and just have it on there. You can erase it afterwards. So those are the passenger trains to the right. And I guess the biggest thing I can say is be prepared for the train to be late, the train getting in late, bring some extra food, bring your meds, all those things. And this is pulling up to here is where you want to have all that stuff ready to go when you pull up there.
Leave this window down,
Okay.
turn it off, leave the key, gather your carry-ons, head inside and check in.
Okay, thank you. And you can see they're going around taking pictures of the car. I already kind of took pictures of my car. So now on to the experience. Before I could even blink, there was somebody in my car and off that car went. Next thing was to go in and get my tickets and dinner time. I will say this is the area where you go and get your tickets, and you walk up and you're going to get your ticket. Make sure you keep that paper ticket because that's what you'll need. Also, you'll get a 1, 2, or 3 for your dinner slot. If you want to eat early, you better get there early because those slots go out quickly for the earlier meals. You do not have to wait till you drop off your car. If you have an extra person, you can actually send them in while you wait with the car and get in line to get your meal ticket if you want an early one. It seems like meal times kind of move around depending on how many people are on the train, but I've heard them at 5, 7, and 9. Just be aware, if that train is late taking off, it's going to delay the meal times, and I've actually heard of people not eating till 11 o'clock at night. So if that's important to you, I would do that. Also, you can eat in your room, so you can have the attendant bring your meal to you and have it delivered to your room, and that's it. And speaking of the attendants, in case I forget, you may want to think about tipping them when you first get there. It may get you a little extra help. I did ask around, and most people say they do tip the attendants. Also, while we're on tipping, while I ate my meal, I left a tip for the people that were actually serving the meal since they did a really nice job. More on the meals later. Ice cream at the train station. So this is exactly what is in the train station to eat. A little bit of coffee and snacks and that type of thing, but nothing really major for a meal. Junk food, I guess what we would say. A couple of trinkets and stuff like that for the auto train, if you like that kind of stuff. Some puzzles, books, magazines, kind of like an airport stop-off area, but nothing major to eat, and some toys for the kids. I decided even before I got to the train station that I'd buy some lunch and sit outside and have it. But what I didn't know before I got there, that there was actually a food truck, and there were some people eating lunch at the picnic tables out there. That's where I had my lunch. And there's the food truck. Also, I wish I had known about this. I would have gotten there a little earlier. There is actually, you can see it right there on that poster sandwich board right there, a shuttle that runs for free downtown. It runs about every 20 minutes or so. And you can catch that. It is free. And you don't even have to call them. They will tell you where they're going to pick you up, probably where they dropped you off. But it's enough time to get out and have lunch and be back by 3. He said they haven't missed a train in 17 years. Here are the cars going in and out. And it was kind of fun to watch everything from a tractor getting loaded on there, motorcycles, cars, high-end sports cars. I even saw a Rolls Royce. Here is a shot inside the terminal just before I went out to go board the train. Probably a little bit before 3 o'clock they'll start then. You'll start to see people line up out there. And when I got out there, my train was waiting for me. It is about time to get on that train, so this kind of concludes part 1. And I hope you guys have learned something. I tried to include everything I could. There's a lot more in part 2 that I incorporate into the train ride as it cruises on up to Virginia. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me. If you have any comments so far, please put them in the comments section. And although I'm almost done with part 2, I will try to include them. Make sure you subscribe for part 2. You'll get notified when that comes out. I really appreciate you joining me, and that train ride was definitely a trip to remember, and still still trying to figure out whether I'm going to do it again. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me. I'll either see you down here in the Villages, or I will see you on the auto train maybe, or back here on YouTube. Thanks a lot. See you on part 2.